So it's time for coming home, education through sport. At 27 years old, Colby Daniels is one of the youngest band counselors to serve his community of Mistawasis Nehiyawak, located approximately 100 kilometers northwest of Saskatoon. Before coming home, Colby attended college in the United States, both on the East Coast and finally finishing off at the UNLV in Las Vegas. Along with college, he has also had a prominent hockey career in the Saskatchewan Junior Hockey League, playing for 3 seasons in Kindersley and finishing off his junior career in Ronge. After retiring from college hockey and moving back to Canada, Colby now calls Martensville home along with his family. During his time as a councilor in office, he plans to grow sports and education back home while continuing to build bridges for reconciliation and be a part of positive steps moving forward, not only for his community, but all First Nations.
Sydney is a Mistawasis First Nations member that completed her 4-year collegiate ice hockey career at Harvard University. Within her career, Sydney accumulated 89 points and landed a spot at number 13 on Harvard's all-time scoring list with 59 career goals. Way to go, Quizzes. Sydney obtained many honors within her 4 years at Harvard, but the most important was being selected to be captain of the team in her senior year. Sydney is currently in her 4th year serving as the assistant coach for the Harvard University women's hockey team. Sydney is the daughter of former NHLer Scott Daniels. Over the course of 10 years, Scott Daniels played for the Harvard Whalers, Philadelphia Flyers, and New Jersey Devils. Sydney credits most of her success to the teachings of her father.
Colby and Sydney are decorated athletes in the hockey world, and they will be talking to us about their journey through sports in school, highlighting the lessons that sport taught them and how sports have helped them grow as individuals, and communicate how they are using sport to help Indigenous youth and future generations to come. Please join us in welcoming Colby and Sydney.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for having us.
Yeah. Good afternoon, everybody. Can everybody hear me well?
Yep.
Perfect.
Is there a possibility that I can share my screen?
Yes, Sydney, you've got co-host powers, so you can share.
Woo! I feel powerful. Okay. One second. Okay. Screen share. Having a little technical difficulties. Colby, you want to start it off and start introducing yourself while I get this up?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Oops.
Good afternoon to everybody. I am on a little bit of a time change. I hopped on a flight early this morning, and I am in Calgary to get some TLE ballots to some of our band members out here out west. I do want to thank the elder for the prayer to start this off, and just thank the Creator for this day. I'd like to acknowledge the fact that I am on Treaty 7 territory out here, home of the Tsuut'ina Nation. And if none of you ever come out to Calgary and seen that reserve or seen the resort out here, please take the time to travel out west and come and take in the beautiful facilities that this First Nation has. As mentioned before in the intro, my name is Colby Daniels. I am lucky enough to serve as one of the 5 council members on my home First Nation of Mistawasis Nehiyawak in Treaty 6 territory. My journey started off on the reserve. My parents got divorced in an early age, and that ultimately led us back from Alberta to come home on the reserve. And I guess as bluntly as it could be put, we were in house number 1, a family of 4, a single mother, probably about 350 to 400 meters across the field from my grandparents' house. And that's what starts the early memories for myself growing up in community and having that really shaped who I am as a person. None of that would have happened, of course, without the family that does surround us. You did already hear about Sydney's father making it all the way to the NHL. I also have numerous other uncles who have played hockey along the way. I'll give a shout out to my uncle, Gary Daniels, who is a graduate of UNLV in Las Vegas as well. He has come home and worked for SIGA for a number of years and done a great job serving everybody back home. And yeah, so there is a lot of good people, I guess, that we had surrounding us as kids growing up to not only to guide us in the right way, I guess, but to also protect us from a lot of outside negative influences without getting too deep. We all know some of the social issues and some of the issues surrounding First Nations people that can get in the way of success. But it is without a doubt that without our family, being as strong as we are and really putting the kids and everything first, that I would definitely not have the opportunity to live the life that I did. I know that Sydney and I are the best of cousins. We converse regularly, her and I. Our upbringing was a little bit different, but that being said, we both still share a deep love for our community. We want to do everything to give back to the kids, to try and just give them a chance, give them the same experiences that everybody else would get, outside the borders of the reserve. It would be surprising, I think, to a lot of people to really understand the discrepancies and what some would consider fair and what others wouldn't. So that's the start for me to be elected as one of the youngest councilors coming back home at such a young age. I still sometimes have to pinch myself, but that being said, it is an opportunity for a younger generation to really come home and to speak from a position of youth, from a different experience. I will say living away from the States, being such a home person, being a little bit of a suck for a mama's boy, and being around the grandparents all the time, you do learn what it feels like to be lonesome very quick. I learned that playing AAA at a young age, moving to Battleford, although it was only an hour away. From there I moved to Kindersley, went up north and played my final year up in Ronge, which was probably, for me, really the icing on the cake of my junior hockey career, being able to spend it up north with what I would consider my people. The support that I got being a First Nation hockey player and playing up there and mingling with the community was really an experience that I don't think that you could get anywhere else but in a remote community like that. And then that ultimately led to the opportunity to go down and stay with Sydney's parents, Scott and Lynn, and really start my collegiate hockey career and my university studies. And all that wrapped up in Las Vegas. And that was a great experience too, really learning how to live in big metropolitan areas and develop relationships and form your own network. So there's a lot of things that you learn from a book and sitting in a classroom in university, but I think some of the biggest life lessons I learned were definitely getting off the reserve, moving away from home, learning at a young age how to act like an adult and do things on my own without some of the, supports that I've relied on so heavily back home. So that's just a little bit of a brief snapshot about who I am and how I came to be. And with that, I'll let Sydney kind of go into a little bit of her bio now. So
tough act to follow there, Colby. Hello, everyone, again, and thank you for having us. My name is Sydney Daniels. It's always so intimidating to start when you start with your bio, but I'm Sydney Daniels. As alluded to before, I'm the cousin of Colby. I am the daughter of Scott Daniels, who played in the NHL for 11 years. I actually did not grow up on Territory 6 treaty land in Mistawasis Nehiyawak. I grew up in Massachusetts, which is in the United States, because my father had moved here for playing ice hockey, and that's where he decided to kind of settle his family. And so that's where I grew up. However, even though I did grow up in Massachusetts, every year, if not multiple times a year, we make trips to go visit our family in Saskatchewan, because it's so important to us and who we are and our culture, and just being around family is, paramount. going through bio things, I have been lucky enough to be able to have some Indigenous hockey experiences within my playing career, which have brought me back to, the reserve and meeting and befriending other Indigenous athletes, women, and ice hockey players. So that was really a fun, special experience for me. I also had the opportunity to play 4 years of college ice hockey at Harvard University, which is such an incredible opportunity, and one I'm grateful for every single day. I knew that when I was growing up, that education was going to be, a big focus for me, and I was very passionate about it. So I was kind of able to use, my on ice hockey skill ability and translate that to, trying to find ways to get a high education and be able to continue that education once my hockey career was over. I also was lucky enough to play for Team USA. I played for the U18 team for 3 years and the U22 team for 3 years. And that was an incredible experience, being able to kind of play for your country and play for, a bigger thing than yourself. So that's just another way sports have, granted me so many different opportunities. And currently, as alluded to, I am the assistant coach at Harvard right now for the women's ice hockey team. I'm in my 4th season. We've played 4 games so far, and we have a winning record so far. So I don't have too much to complain about at this moment. But yeah, no, it's a true honor to be here and talk about things that, live close to me and Colby's heart, and things we're passionate about pursuing for the rest of our lives, and giving back to the Indigenous community. So I have a couple slides, some pictures just to show, and we can talk about them and go more in depth. But at any point, feel free to, if you have questions, drop them in the chat, or type them up, or just turn on your mic and let it rip. So here, next slide, just some pictures of Colby in his NCAA experience, me at Harvard, Colby looking like he's 12 years old there. Couldn't grow a beard yet, I don't think. So yeah, this is just a little bit of snapshots of us in our journey. Colby, feel free to talk anytime you want.
Yeah, and just going back to the ability to still be able to grow a beard. I don't know if anybody could see that Movember mustache, but it must ring true that, yeah, First Nations cannot grow beards, because I am as patchy as they come. So yeah, these are probably some of the more impactful moments. I still remember having Sydney come down and really lighting that tournament on fire. It was quite a momentous occasion. It was the first time, I believe, that both the male and female for Saskatchewan in both divisions won their national championships. And then not only that, I think the cherry on top was the opportunity to do that at home, to have a bunch of family and friends watching. Yeah, those are just kind of things, as long as time will go on, you don't really forget. Even going back to my junior hockey career living in Kindersley, I still have great contacts there. I still keep in contact with my billets there. They do become like a second family, especially living with them for 3 years. And then I think it would be kind of rude not to go back a little bit further. One of the biggest reasons why hockey is so prominent in our family all starts with our grandfather, who is a residential school survivor. Sadly, we are approaching the 1-year anniversary of him of leaving us. He did pass away just before Christmas last year. So he went to school not too far from where any of us call home now. If we do reside around the city, he did go to school in Duck Lake at St. Michael's for 10.5 years. So, some of those experiences, we were lucky enough to, to have the opportunity to hear those stories firsthand and what those experiences were like. Of course, without ever digging too deep, and I guess opening up things that maybe shouldn't be opened up. And that kind of leads me into the next point. Once I got elected to office, I have the opportunity to work with a lot of great elders from around our community. And without mentioning his name, I had asked one day, how did it happen that all those years ago that you children got picked up. And he went on to tell me that it was just a normal kind of summer day and he was playing outside with himself and his sisters. And along comes the nice truck with the Indian agent, I guess at the time. And he had a bunch of food, chips, sandwiches, juice. And back in the day that the kids had never really seen anything like that. The gentleman was so nice, had offered them a ride in the back of the truck. The kids got in there and ate till they were full and was wondering when the ride was over, he told me. And sadly, that ride went on for about 5 to 8 hours until the doors opened up and they found themselves at the LeBret Residential School, which is located by Ochapowace First Nation, just south of Regina. So those kind of stories, when you hear them, are quite shocking. But it is nice to still have those people alive and around to share those stories. I still think that there is a misconception that a lot of this happened, so long ago that none of these people are really around, and that's just not the truth. All these people are still walking amongst us, at a lot of our conferences, a lot of our powwows, a lot of our ceremonies. These are the reasons I think that we form commissions and committees like this, is to remember those pioneers who arguably led us to this point. And I'd like to think it was that generation that really paved the way. And I hope that I can be a part of the generation that really starts the steps in the right direction. And whatever the people do that come after us, I hope that they can just pick up the torch, wherever we leave it, and keep continuing the good work. So I'm super thankful on behalf of your guys's, group, the PRRC, for having us and giving us a platform to do this. I like to talk anyway. No wonder I got into politics, but to have 80
It's
people
true.
stick around to me for an afternoon, that's kind of a cherry on top. So yeah, with that, that's I just wanted to throw that in there and just pay homage to our late grandfather and just a few of the other experiences that I've heard from residential school survivors. So
Yeah, and going off of Colby, it is our relationship with hockey is it's awesome, but it's also kind of bittersweet at the same time, since our grandfather Noel, what he learned and played hockey at the residential school he was at, and then that is a way in which he had an outlet and a way in which he could try to find happiness while he was a member of one of those schools. So once he left, he kept playing hockey, and then he also passed his love for hockey to my uncles, my aunt, and then trickled down to us. So hockey is a sport that's very, very near to our hearts, not only because we love to play it, but also because, it was kind of a form of, survival for my grandfather. And because he played that sport, he was able to get through his time at the residential school and then teach it to us. So every time we step on the ice, it's kind of in honor of him and reminding it's bigger than just a sport to us. Sports in general is bigger than just, scoring goals and making baskets. It's an opportunity to learn so many valuable lessons in your life, personally, working as a team. There's just so many different lessons to unpack. But before we continue, I think it is important that we are where we are today. I am where I am today because of our grandfather, Noel. So going forward, so yes, this is my father, Scott Daniels. He played in the NHL, and I had to put a cute baby picture of myself. I had to. This is my father, and he played in the NHL for 10, 11 years. And again, that all was stemming from everything that my grandfather had taught him and his brothers, and how my grandfather had pushed him and encouraged him and supported him. And he really made sure that, I think something that our grandfather taught to us and our parents as well is just that the road isn't going to be easy, and you might have to work a little bit harder as an Indigenous member, but it doesn't mean it's not possible. If you work hard, you focus, you really dedicate yourself to what you're doing. Your opportunities might not come as easy and your road is going to be a lot rockier, but as long as you persevere and keep working hard, that it is a possibility. And so I think my father is a great example of everything that, you know, my grandfather taught him and his brothers and sister their whole life through sport. So yeah, going forward. So yeah, this brings us kind of to what is near and dear to our hearts and kind of at the epicenter of all we're doing and all we know and all we love. So about 5 years ago, I was just a freshman in college here at Harvard. And then we started in the summer, we had a Daniels hockey school, and it started off as a very kind of small, quaint operation where we just, you know, we're looking to get on the ice and kind of give back to a few members of our community and play some hockey and have some fun. And then over the past 5 years, it's kind of grown and grown to this special, powerful, really meaningful event that we're having annually, and hope to have it actually more frequently going forward. But you know, it's called a hockey school, but it's so much more. You can't probably see all of the little faces in the picture. That's only like 1/3 of who we had at that camp that year. That's our younger group. But comprised of these young children are, you know, members from so many different Indigenous communities all over Saskatchewan and out of province who, you know, are able to come in and play and just be kids. And I think giving them that opportunity, our main mission is just to have fun and show them that sport can just be what it is. It can be fun, and it can also teach you so many different things. And yeah, Colby, do you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, no, I'm actually still kind of quite surprised. I remember the first year that this hockey school came about, you're talking maybe 30 to 50 kids. And, you know, year by year, the snowball slowly started to grow. And sadly with COVID, you know, things kind of got put on a halt. But this last August, we were so thrilled to finally, you know, change venues from the Gemini in Saskatoon to a more state-of-the-art facility in Warman. And, you know, just really show these kids what kind of, you know, opportunities and buildings and experiences that are out there for them. And I think that's the biggest one. Like Sydney said, we're just trying to give everybody a fair chance. Let them get off the reserve for a week, come and swim in the hotel, go to the pool, come and run around the ice with them, you know, with their friends, hopefully make some new friends. You know, the first year having some young kids, I believe her name's Heidi, come down from the James Smith First Nation, and then seeing her grow up over the period of 4 or 5 years and be at the camp this year, and from a girl who could barely skate to now being one of the best female players out there. And probably the more heartwarming one is she takes the time to help out the younger kids who are just like her the first time that she stepped on the ice. So it might be labeled a hockey school, but yeah, we're teaching them a lot more things than that. So it makes you feel good. Those are kind of things that you know, money can't really buy. You have to take the time out of your life and your day in order to be able to spend time with the kids. But sign me up, because I think a lot of us would do that any given day. So yeah, shout out to the Daniels Hockey School and all those other young instructors back there. Those are just some junior and WHL guys from the local community. Some other fellow First Nations kids who we just kind of asked them to come out to be a part of what we were doing, and they were more than supportive. So really a big shout out to those guys, and yeah, and hopefully it keeps going from there. There are only you know, 3 of us that are on the ice with a couple of help, so we can get stretched a little bit thin. But it is a great week that we have every summer, and we hope to do it at different locations for maybe one or 2 more weeks around. And I think just before we get into maybe some Q&A, if we have some time, I just want to bring some light to the 94 Truth and Reconciliation calls to action. I know maybe for Sydney that They might not be as prevalent living down in the States or hearing about them as much, but number 14, it talks about the language and bringing back the language. And sadly, I only know mostly the bad words because I think that's what everybody learned when they were, but I'd absolutely love the opportunity to learn my language and someday and bring back some of those cultural values that were sadly, ripped away over the previous generations. It's something that I don't think a lot of us younger kids did grow up with. And I think a lot of us more and more are starting to take a lot more interest into that. Another truth and reconciliation one that I just want to bring in there are the calls to justice. And maybe the ones that are probably most near and dear to us are the sports reconciliations ones, number 87 to 91. And I do have to give a shout out to one of my 81 audience members here, Truth and Reconciliation Call to Action number 92, economic development and business. I think as much as sports and education play a role, you need people like good old Robert Daniels. I know that he's sitting there looking at through this camera, but that guy does such amazing work for our community on the economic development side, creating opportunities to build people up, give them a career. So I just wanted to give him a quick shout out. And with that, yeah, I'll kind of wrap up my rambling. And if Sydney wants to say anything else, and if you guys would more than like to ask any questions for any of us, I would love to give it a try.
Yeah, no, I think you covered a lot there, Colbs. And another kind of reason too that is why this hockey school is so important to us is that, visibility within the community is really important. And the more we as Indigenous members can share our stories and share our experiences, the more we can begin to have conversations about, eventually, hopefully it comes to, the heavier reconciliation conversations, but even just being able to, get to be in a community and just be seen as a hockey player. And then when you have your teammates, now you have this opportunity to kind of tell more about yourself and teach them more about what makes you important. And for me, that's, my Indigenous heritage, and hockey has provided such a big window for us to do that, and for us to kind of empower younger Indigenous people to kind of, hopefully, I don't want to say fall in our footsteps, but I think visibility is important. And if people can see, if young Indigenous people can see people going to college like Colby, people going to play juniors like Colby did, or people going to the States and attending school like I did. And I am an Indigenous woman and Colby is an Indigenous man. And if they can see it, they can start believing it. So, we really kind of take this week and soak it all in and try to empower these young Indigenous people and youth that, anything is possible. Anything is possible. The like I said before, the roads might just be a little bit more rocky or steep or windy than some other people in your community might have. But it is still possible because we did it, and you can do it too. And we're just trying to kind of provide more opportunities for people to, find what they love, find their passions, and then give them opportunity to pursue them. Colby had mentioned something about sharing your Indigenous heritage when he was talking, and I was sitting here at my desk at Harvard. I actually have practiced in like an hour, but we're good on time. But I have an office at the rink. That's where I am right now. And let's see if I can turn it around. On my whiteboard, I did not plan this, but you'll see Cree words written on the board. And so it's Gisa Geetan, which means I love you. And my cousin actually wrote that, not Colby, a different cousin. But it's special to me because I have player meetings almost every single day, and I have Harvard college players coming in here and sitting on the board, and they're like, what does that say? And I get to then present them the opportunity to learn more about me, learn more about my culture, who I am. And then that conversation just begins and sparks. And then now we're, talking about so many current events and so many different things. And just because we both have this shared experience of being at Harvard and being involved in hockey, now I have the opportunity to kind of teach them more about myself, more about my culture, and really start meaningful conversations too. So I think that's just one way, if you're curious, is to just, if you are Indigenous, don't be afraid to share your story. It's important. Everybody's story is important. And two, if you are a non-Indigenous member, it's so important to be a good listener too. It's so important to be a good listener, engage yourself, apply yourself. For example, my other coworker, she is non-Indigenous, and she is, always coming up with articles and doing research and doing her own research and asking me questions. I think she sometimes knows more than I do, just given all of the research she does, but that's a way she shows that she cares about me and who I am and what's important to me. So that's just another way to just make, the reconciliation process, more approachable and more digestible, is to just attack it from, such common shared spaces. It doesn't have to be these big, grandiose, passionate, intense conversations. It can just be as little as just starting to share something about yourself. And then on the other side, just listening when the person is sharing. So from there, we just have a few takeaways. So like we said, sport can be used as a vehicle to reach greater opportunities. I know, believe it or not, I probably wouldn't have made it to Harvard just as a student. I don't think I was that brilliant, but Harvard or hockey allowed me to come to one of the greatest institutions and learn and grow as a human. So whether it's Harvard, whether it's Kindersley, whether it's UNLV, whether it's, across town, like sports, if that's something you're passionate about, it can be used to open up so many different opportunities for you. Additionally, sports teach youth valuable lessons. Like I said, communication, teamwork, responsibility, how you respond to adversity when something doesn't go your way. And life just doesn't feel fair in that moment, and you don't feel like you have it as easy as everyone else does. How do you face that adversity? Do you, get upset and give up and quit, or are you gonna work harder and push through it and lean on your teammates and lean on other people to support you? So that's just another way sports challenges you, not only physically but emotionally and like mentally. Also, sports creates an opportunity for people of all different ethnicities, socioeconomic statuses, genders, and more to be on the same level playing field. So that's, again, kind of what I was just alluding to is, it doesn't matter who you are or where you're from or what you do. You can step on a sheet of ice and just be a hockey player and line up next to someone who also is just a hockey player and come from two absolutely different worlds, but in that moment you are only hockey players. So that levelizing ability that sport has kind of allows for these shared, passionate, different perspectives to be offered and to be better received. So that's another reason why I love sports so much. And of course, why Colby and I still do it and still do the camp. It's just an opportunity for people to come together, have fun and feel safe and feel empowered. I think empowerment for me is something that I've been lucky enough to feel through sport, and empowering young women in my current role now as an assistant coach is something that's so empowering, so important to me, just because sports has the ability to make you feel confident, to make you feel you have purpose, to get you excited about things, and to make you really feel like you can do anything you want to do. So yeah, those are kind of some of my takeaways. Colts?
Yeah, I think we're we're pushing it there. But no, I think that's kind of it for the meat and potatoes of our presentation. I do see a couple comments there. Shout out to Tara and everyone in Martensville back home. Hello, watching.
Yeah.
And then also, I just want to take the time to, I understand the importance of this week coming up and also the day that it is for our veterans, not only First Nation, but all across the country and into the United States. It is Remembrance Day on the 11th. So I don't want to do this this entire presentation without at least taking the time to acknowledge all the people that fought for our way of life and still continue to do so. But Paula, to answer your question, the first time that I ever put on skates, where and at what age? I believe I was between 3 and 5 years old, and it was a little 2-horse town, Wildwood, Alberta, where we first started off. And I used to love not sunflower seeds as a kid, but pumpkin seeds. So
Yeah, always had to be different. He always had to be different.
I would cry and lay on the ice and whimper around, and I would hate to skate until my grandfather went and stood on the other end of the rink one day with a pair of pumpkin seeds. And I guess fast forward 27 years later, that might have been the greatest bag of pumpkin seeds I ever decided to have. So that's the first time that I ever heard that I strapped on a pair of skates and took my first strides was for a bag of Spitz
The first time I ever put on skates, that's a good question. My father, as we talked about in the presentation, played in the NHL. He unfortunately had to end his career early due to too many brain concussions. It was not good for his health anymore to be subjected to kind of the physicality that can come with ice hockey. So he actually retired. And I was pretty young at that point. I was probably 4 or 5, and I was so adamant on wanting to be just like my dad and play hockey just like my dad. And he was resistant because he had this kind of bittersweet relationship with hockey at the time. And I suckered him into taking me to a stick time. He picked me up from kindergarten and he was like, "Get in the car, we're going to play hockey." And I was like, "This is the best day ever." And so we went out at stick time, and I fell probably 18 times and thought he was about to walk out of the rink and never look back. But that was the first time I put them on, and I never wanted to take them off since. And it's just the way that me and my father and Colby and all of our family members can connect so well is through the sport. And I'm forever grateful for it.
And I think Velma and Tracy there, yeah. I mean, if you ask Sydney, even talking about her father, that's, I guess, the epitome of what a late bloomer. I don't think that he picked up the game.
11.
At least, yeah, between 10 and 12 years old. So, no, grade 4 is not, you're not going to make Olympic athletes that age. You're not going to go to the NHL at grade 4. Those outside kind of societal pressures that the game puts on you from other people's opinions can sometimes be more of a deterrent to the game or to any sport. Just with the way that some parents are, they put so much pressure on their kids. Well, they tend to forget that they're not even double digits in age yet. So to those girls, they have tons of time to develop. They're still young. And there's tons of other sports out there besides hockey. Like I'm a sucker for golf now that I'm done. I used to play a lot of slow pitch growing up. Badminton was huge in my life. So as much as hockey was our vehicle and provided a lot for us, always take the time to do other things. Don't be a one-trick pony. There's a lot of other fun stuff out there. There's a lot of different people that you'll meet doing different things. So yeah, don't grow up yet. I still wish that I was in high school and young and back in college. And I remember when I was young, all I wanted to do was be old. So now that I'm old, yes, all I want to do is be sitting back in a classroom somewhere. So don't take your time and don't wish away your youth, and yeah, good things will happen.
So wise. No, I completely agree. And I also think it's important to reiterate the fact that Colby and I have played at very high levels within hockey, and we're so fortunate to have had that opportunity. But I highly, highly encourage playing sports just to have fun. And that in itself is so powerful. For example, I like golf too. I'm terrible at it. Am I going to be a professional golfer? Absolutely not. No way in bleep. But doesn't mean I still, doesn't mean I give it up because I'm not good at it. I'm not going to get anywhere with it. It truly brings me so much joy and happiness and commitment, the amount of commitment I have to go to the driving range and I gotta do all of these. I gotta get lessons and I gotta wake up early for a tea time, you know. So there's just so many different things that you can pull from sport, whether you're trying to make an Olympic team or whether you're just out there to have fun with your friends and let some steam off and hang out. That is so powerful too. So even if, you know, you can start, I know people who started playing hockey at 40. I've taught 40-year-olds how to skate because they're just like, you know, I've always watched it. I would always like to play. Absolutely. That's what the sport is for, is to have fun and make connections and build relationships. So absolutely, grade 4, never too early, never too late. Well, never too late to start hockey. What other sports do you play? I played soccer and softball in high school. And as I just alluded to, I'm a terrible golfer, but I try to keep playing it. Colby?
Yeah, badminton, golf. I have no hops for volleyball or basketball, so those were phased out at a young age. And I got a volleyball spike off the face of grade 6. So you never make that same mistake twice. But yeah, other than that, get out there, be amongst your peers, have fun. I believe that that's probably it. So on behalf of myself, on behalf of the Mistawasis Nehiyawak First Nation, my 4 other council members who aren't here, who are probably out on the road doing the same thing I'm set to do, getting ballots this afternoon. And on behalf of our chief, behalf of our Daniels family, I just want to say thanks for this opportunity, and to the PRRC, keep up the good work, because what you guys are doing is really making a difference back home.
Thank you.
Thank you both. That was amazing. And thanks for that shout out for the kids. There's so much pressure, it seems to be. If you're into it, you have to keep at it and you can't ever stop. And if you stop, well, it's a waste, you know. So hearing it from you two really, I hope, hit home to some of these kids. And no matter what age, like 40, Cam 50, am I too late?
We'll start next week. I'll get us my slots.
I'll check my schedule.
All right, send me your schedule.
That's awesome. You two are great, great, great. And we appreciate it so much. And thank you for the encouraging words for us in our committee too, because sometimes you feel like you're not doing anything, but something like this happens and you guys can talk to all these schools at once. It's just amazing. Amazing.
Hi.
Oh.
Stataha.
My cup runneth over. It's Chimmy Wedge. That was a really good talk. And it's true, like whatever you put your mind to, you have to just work hard at it. And that's all there is to it. I played hockey right from probably when I started walking, right up until I was probably in my mid-40s. And I'm just a little bit over 40. Just kidding. But I still go skating. Every chance I get, I go skating.
Love
it. The grade 4 class in Aberdeen says, thank you both for sharing. They enjoyed hearing from you. So there we go. That's Miss Spears' class in Aberdeen.
Hi.
Our tech team and everyone at PRRC says, thank you so much for your awesome sharing and your encouragement for PRRC Colby and Sydney. Vonda Co-op says, thank you so much. 7H at VHS says, thank you. Lots of people were listening. So you guys hit a home run today. I know that's not a hockey term, but you both played ball, so you're good.
I get that one. We're good. And thank you again for having us. It was a true
everybody can go, if everybody had the chance to go on their mics, if they could, everybody would say, oh, wow.
Oh, you're too funny.
Wow.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much. And ladies, have a great rest of your day, and have a great rest of your 2 days with the remaining 2 days of the, I guess, the I don't know if we want to call it a conference or whatever.
The conference, you bet. Conference sounds like such a silly word for this great educational thing that's going on, but thank you guys.
Absolutely. Thank
Take
you.
care.
And hopefully I gotta head to practice, but hopefully I can hop on for some more to learn more. Always got to learn more.
Exactly.
Take care.
Awesome. Take care, guys.
Thank you.
Good job. See you
Thank
guys
you.
later. Take care.
So now that was amazing, absolutely amazing.